Whoa, Cam on a Sunday? That's crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how you doing? How's your mama? The man, Ilia Topuria, has dropped a nice little quote. And I'm sure Dana White's not happy about it. But Ilia Topuria basically said he has the UFC's word that his next fight will be a title fight. Now, excuse me, does that mean that Islam versus Ilia is next? No, that's not what that means. I hope that's what it means. I think that's what would be best for the UFC. It would do big numbers. It would be the biggest fight that the UFC can make besides Jones and Aspinall. Just because Ilia Topuria says that he has the UFC word that his next fight will be for a title, that doesn't mean that he's going to fight for the title next. That does still mean we're getting Gaethje versus Islam Makhachev, what would be a disgrace to the sport. And I know that sounds ironic coming from a DP fan. I made a video about that. Check that out. But we could still get Islam versus Gaethje. We could still get Islam versus somebody else. You know, and Ilia just, once Islam wins, because if Islam's running out of fights at lightweight. He's defending his belt 4 times. If he gets a 5th defense, I mean, how can you tell him he can't move up? So maybe Dana's planning for Ilia to fight for a vacant title. You know, after Islam moves up, that would be a disgrace. That would suck. There's certain fights that whenever you're able to make them, you have to make them. We missed out on John Jones versus Francis Ngannou. We missed out on John Jones versus Stipe. And I say we missed out on John Jones versus Stipe because they did it way too late. We might miss out on Jones versus Aspinall. There are certain fights you cannot miss out on. And when you have 2 people who are willing to fight, yeah, Islam may not want to fight Ilia like the most out of all the contenders. But if you give Islam a contract, there's no way he's not going to sign it. We know what Ilia wants. Give him the contract, make it happen. I still have hope, but it's dwindling. We're going to get into it. Let's get into what Ilia said, his quote. Let's get into what Ilia said.
No tengo tan claro cuál va a ser mi siguiente combate.
Very, very important. He says, I am not sure on who will be my next fight. That's very important. Leading, and it hints to maybe he fights for a vacant title after Islam defends against Gaethje, because he will defend against Gaethje. None of you guys believe that Gaethje has a chance to beat Islam. None of you guys think that Gaethje has a better chance to beat Islam than Ilia. None of you guys believe that he has a better chance to beat Islam than Arman Sarukian, not even Charles Oliveira. So let's just stop that right now. But it's very important that he says, I am not sure on who will be my next fight.
Lo único que tengo claro y la palabra que tengo de parte de la UFC es que mi próximo combate va a ser por el título mundial o es así.
But he has the UFC's word that his next fight will be for a title. And it's interesting because Dana White acted like Ilia said he couldn't make weight anymore and that Ilia wanted to vacate. But Ilia's saying that he was promised a title shot for vacating his title.
La promesa por dejar el título
That was the promise for vacating
eso es lo único que sé.
That's the only thing I know. Everything I have been promised has been fulfilled. That's important. That's important. Because Dana's behind the scenes acting like he doesn't know what's going on. There's a lot of possibilities, but Dana told him, this is a lot of he say, she say, but he's saying Dana said that you will fight for the world title in your next fight. And he said that was his incentive to vacate. We need Ilia versus Islam. Dana, I know Ilia's undefeated. He's a star. He's going to be an even bigger star. He's creating a hell of a legacy for himself. I know Islam is approaching GOAT status, and maybe he doesn't want to put those two together and knock one of them off of their track and tarnish one of their legacies. Tarnish. But this is the fight. You have to do it. You have to do it. This is a once-in-a-lifetime type of fight. You have to do it. Let's look at what Dana White's been saying about the fight.
I wanted to talk to you. Obviously, you had a big week at the UFC. Some crazy stuff went down. With Ilia moving up to lightweight, vacating the title. You weren't able to announce it then, but is it safe to say that Ilia Islam is the fight that we're sort of working towards, or could he be fighting?
There's still other possibilities. So.
There's still other possibilities. Asked him, is that the fight we're working towards? There's still other possibilities. That means that Ilia versus Islam is a possibility, and it might be the biggest possibility. Because the way he worded that, he said there's still other possibilities. So that could mean his options are open, but that definitely means that Ilia versus Islam is on the table. We already knew that, though, so that's not really helping us at all.
So there's a lot of shit going on right now.
Yeah. A lot of shit going on. Yeah, whatever you say. I want to look at this clip as well. They asked him about Ilia and Islam again. Ilia made a tweet saying that his next fight is going to be huge. Just wait until they announce it. And they asked Dana, is that fight related? He says he doesn't know, but then he says, probably. You're the matchmaker. You're one of the matchmakers. You're on the face of the company. You know what's in the works. So for you to say you don't know and then at the end say probably fight related. Ilia versus Islam is still. Y'all let me know.
You talked about Gaethje and the potential title shot. How would you guys ultimately make the decision on who's next for Islam? Because you got Charles there, you got Arman there, and then obviously Ilia Topuria as well.
Asked him about the Gaethje Islam fight. We don't want that shit. But he doesn't really touch on it that much. He doesn't really give that one that much attention.
Yeah, well, you guys know there's a lot of different,
He's going to name a lot of factors that go into fights happening. I think this is pretty important too, because he's going to mention location. We know that Dana's been trying to go to Spain forever. He wants to go to Spain. He says Spain's been all booked out, but he wants to go to Spain in 2025. And he simply hints location matters a lot. He knows this is a big fight. Now, I think it'd be just as big in Vegas, but he hints at location.
factors that, play out when we start talking about who's fighting next. Injuries, timing of when they want to fight.
Injuries, timing of when they want to fight. So he's probably talking about Arman right there. Arman's very strict on his timing of when he wants to step in octagon, and obviously he's dealing with an injury. I'm not gonna do that. I can't. Like, I don't want to discredit his injury. He probably was injured, but let's keep going.
When they don't want to fight, geographically where we end up.
He wants to go to Spain. He's been struggling to go to Spain. He said we're going to Spain in 2025. I'm not really holding my breath on it. But geographically, he wouldn't be talking about Charles Oliveira because Charles Oliveira fight anywhere. He wouldn't be talking about Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje fight anywhere. Justin Gaethje versus Islam, that fight can happen anywhere. That's not one of those big fights. Like certain people like Conor McGregor has to fight in Vegas. John Jones has to fight in Vegas or he has to fight in New York. You know what I'm saying? Those certain big fights. So geographically, I feel like the only fight he would be hitting to is a fight big enough like Ilia versus Islam. But it's a bunch of he say, she say. It's a bunch of jumping to conclusions. Y'all let me know how y'all feel in the comments, but let's keep going.
So there's a lot of different things that determine whether a guy fights for the title and when.
And Ilia teased a massive announcement a few days ago. Is that fight related?
I don't know.
You don't know. How you don't know? But what he says after this lets you know he knows something.
That I don't know. Probably.
Okay.
Probably. So it's probably fight related. Probably. And then the little cheeky smile, I know something that you don't in the sip of the cup.
I don't know. That I don't know. Probably.
I know something that you don't.
Okay.
Sip of the cup. So it's interesting. It's really, really interesting. The way I feel about it, it would be a disgrace if we didn't get this fight. Ilia, we know Ilia's going to fight for the title in this next fight. So what he's saying is he's probably not fighting Charles, even though he says he's preparing for a Charles or an Islam. He's probably not fighting a Charles. He's probably not fighting an Arman. He's probably not fighting. He says that he has the word, and he's confident enough to say that he's fighting for a title. That we know that's his next fight. We know, but that's his next fight. Let's just say that's his next fight. That doesn't mean that's Islam's next fight. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comments, are there anybody who still want to see Gaethje versus Islam? Is there anybody that wants to see Gaethje versus Islam? I don't know. I don't understand why anybody would want to see that fight. I don't understand why anybody would want to see that fight. I don't understand why anybody... Like, do you actually think Gaethje can beat Islam? Obviously, it's a puncher's chance, it's a sport, blah, blah. But do you really think Gaethje can beat Islam? Or do you think Ilia versus Islam is the fight that needs to happen? Let me know. Share this to somebody I know they enjoy it just like you did. I want to get back into videos like this. I don't want to just be a week-to-week analytical breakdown fights, make some bets, go live. I want to be a little bit more diverse. I want to get back to reactions. I want to get back to narratives. I want to get back to some news. So, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you enjoyed this one. Don't be stingy. Share me. Don't be silly. Jump to get. You got to go home. But you got to get up at him, man. Yeet.